As always on a Thursday, our favorite lawyer in the House, Steve Moskowitz, injured and all, still getting around on a torn ACL and no problem.
Playing through.
It's plugging through.
How's your lawsuit against yourself going on that one?
I'm still working on it.
Still working on how much money to ask for. Yeah. Obviously, if you were at the NFL Combine and did that, you know, the league might have to pay for something. But at the NFL Combine recently, as we've come to know, there's an interview process, and they like to ask a lot of odd questions. They like to see how players react. It's part of their deal. And sometimes they are a little bit offensive, at least according to LSU's Derrius Guice, who said that when he went in his meetings with teams, one team asked him if he likes men, so talking about his sexual preference, and the other team asked him if his mother was a prostitute. Now, I think if you and I went into a normal interview process for, I don't know, a TV job, say, those are questions that would not come at you. And
not legally, anyway.
Legally, yeah. What are the legal ramifications of a question like that, even though it's football? Because the league is now investigating and saying that's inappropriate.
The fact that it's football doesn't change the law. And the problem is, for example, the sexual preference area, that is specifically prohibited and protected by law. That's a question you can't ask any more than if somebody walks in the door and says, what religion are you? What's your age? Those are just illegal questions. You can't answer. You can't legally ask them, and if you do, you could wind up in big trouble.
When you say big trouble, you mean the kid could sue?
Oh, absolutely. And he has all kinds of grounds. Again, those questions are specifically off limits.
Who would he sue, though? Would he sue the individual teams that ask him the questions, the entire league? Would he sue multiple people?
Normally what most lawyers do is they sue everybody in the chain, and then later on, if somebody's not appropriate, you drop them out. But yeah, because the question is, well, who allowed this to happen? It's like, for example, if you go to a job interview and somebody comes in and hits you over the head with a baseball bat, you say, well, wait a minute. What kind of security did you have to let this happen? And they also know with football that they do ask some kind of edgy questions. So normally in an office, maybe you wouldn't say to someone, now make sure you don't ask about the mother or the sexual preference. But especially with football, where they look at the edgy questions, you need somebody in there to say, hey, look, guys, this is the line, don't go over it.
It's a fine line, though, right? Because, say, Super Bowl Media Day, where everyone's trying to be quirky and they ask the most off-the-wall questions. If they once asked Doug Williams of the Redskins how long he had been a black quarterback, they ask if you were a tree, what kind of tree you were. I mean, there's a fine line of what's funny, what's not, what's appropriate.
And the other thing is things change. For example, what was you could get away with a few years ago now is a big problem. Everybody has gotten far more sensitive now, and people are demanding their rights. And you see all these groups, and they say, no, you can't do that. So again, you can't judge today by yesterday. Just take a look at the Me Too movement and all that. Behavior that was somehow tolerated in the past is now way out of bounds.
And that's obviously different, though, to an interview from a media member versus an interview for a job.
Right.
Sure.
So.
True.
A little different.
Right.
Yeah.
But a media member could ask something that could be offensive and sued.
Putting
oh,
yourself
absolutely.
in the public, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Topic 2 here, Steve. Stephen Curry.
Very religious fellow.
Very religious fellow, and tied with Under Armour for a big contract, also owns stock in it, in the company based out of Baltimore. Under Armour uses his I can do all things. He has that tattoo on his body.
Right from the Bible.
There's another company, Battle Fusions, a smaller apparel company out of North Carolina that says, wait a minute, we use that. We had that first, and they're coming after Under Armour, saying, and they reached out to Steph and his agent and saying that's ours.
Want the tattoo off too?
They didn't want the tattoo off, but Under Armour has marketed that in correlation with him using that on his arm and the tattoo. And do they have a case there?
Okay, Under Armour is going to win because you're talking about the Bible, and you can't trademark the Bible. If you can't trademark it, anybody can use it. That is their way out.
Yeah, because Battle Fashions, their trademark is I can. It's not even the full Bible verse. I can is in a lot of things,
sure.
as Under Armour is pointing out. And so they've actually, in fact, sued Battle Fashions because they keep getting these cease and desist. So now you've got kind of a complicated, right?
Yes, you do. And again, what happens in most things, eventually the lawyers will go back and forth. Probably, like most other cases, they'll be settled in the back room and a check will be written to somebody.
Big deal that obviously...
A check will be written which way?
That's the question, because sometimes it's defense costs. Suppose, for example, somebody said, okay, your lawyer will charge you $3 million and I'll settle for $100 grand. Which check do you write? That happens all the time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes. Welcome to our American system of justice.
But the fact that they, Under Armour also won getting the District of Maryland to have jurisdiction over this, and they're obviously based in Baltimore, Maryland, that's kind of an advantage in their favor, right?
Absolutely, yes. And that's one of the things the attorneys do. It's called forum shopping, where you say, where am I most likely to get the best deal? And then you hurry up and go there.
Yeah, they love their Under Armour in Maryland.
As well they should.
As well they should. We love
Steve-
our Steph Curry.
Steve, thank you. Stay healthy.
Always
Be
a pleasure.
careful
I'll
walking
try.
in your
I'll
house.
try, yes.
and don't sue anyone in your house because
Yeah, that guy on the other side's so tough.
he is tough. He's a very good lawyer. Do not go against him. We'll take a break. Chris Bosh still wants to play. He hasn't played in a while. And other people might not want to take the risk for his own health. We'll be back.